Okay, welcome back. I wanted to kind of plug in that whole first part because there's been some stuff that's popped up recently and all that. So we kind of went through that. That's going to be part of this video, and we're going to keep it part of this video because I actually want you guys to see all that on purpose, just to make sure that we don't have any more outbursts by anyone who don't want to be here. I'd much rather let everybody know and let them exit so we can move on with what we're trying to do. I don't have any interest in stopping this train to explain myself or defend myself to anyone, but I do believe everyone should have information in a very upfront way so they can make their own decisions. So with that said, this is going to be mostly Joey. Joey's going to break down one of his cases probably now. We'll probably do another one later. It's already 2.5 hours, so we're probably not going to go into two cases unless he really wants to for some reason. But we're going to go into some of the cases, and then we're just going to let him kind of present. I may chime in with some comments or questions as we go, but the floor is now going to be for Joey, and you can share your screen now, Joey.
Yeah, this one's going to be the case that kind of got me going. And like I said before, I'm a 15 USC 1681 guy, so I know that like the back of my hand. That's the credit space. There's a lot of shitty credit repair companies out there, and I probably should have said it that way. I was in that space for a while, having owned 4 automotive dealerships in a past life. I saw a lot of credit profiles, and this was kind of when I exited that at the beginning of COVID. I was very blessed to be able to sell my business, and I've retired since. So this was kind of me jumping in there and saying, hey, I want to go on the other side of the spectrum now. And, I've seen enough credit profiles. I know what it looks like, and I know how to fix those things. So full disclosure, I jumped in there too for a while and had a credit repair company, and you build it out, and the whole model is, hey, Brandon, I'm going to sell you $299, onboard you, and then $99 a month to get all of these letters sent out for you, and it's
Yeah,
shitty. It never works, man. It's like you'll get stuff removed, and 3 months later it pops back on your credit file, and you're pissed. And the whole model's built around me keeping you strung along for 18 months, and it felt greasy. And then I found out, after jumping in and creating my own case, which we're getting ready to go through, the only way to get any kind of remedy is through litigation, man. And I believe in that wholeheartedly. So this is kind of the case. Can you see that now, Brandon?
Yeah.
So this is anybody that wants to jump in Pacer. I would recommend that. If you don't have I know Brandon's on you all the time about getting a Pacer account. This is what kind of the front page of that looks like. By all means, I'm in Indiana, so the Southern District of Indiana is where you would go do the query for this at. So I'll just go ahead and run through that real quick. Grab this case number, go up to query. It's going to
Pacer, just real quick for people, even though we've covered this a million times, but I'm always going to keep covering it over and over again. Pacer's for federal cases. The state cases have different systems for each individual state. Pacer is one system for all states, but only federal cases.
That's right. And it stands for Public Access to Court Electronic Records. So I just grabbed that off of my pleading paper there. Here you'd put paste. You'd say find this case. You'd hit run query. You'd do a docket report. I'm going through this kind of quick. Now, this would tell you the current status of the case. If we were just now looking, I would click this one here too. Now, if I would have clicked that without, you'd have just saw me and Snap-on. I want you to see that there's other parties here as well. So I'm going to hit run report, and you'll see that I not only sued Snap-on, I sued Experian and Equifax, and they were both. It tells you the date that I let them out of it. They call it terminated. But I'll start here and say the first thing in any settlement agreement that you reached, the first thing they're going to do is they're going to lock down an NDA. You're not allowed to talk about this stuff yet. Here I am talking about it. So I'm not going to share specifics of what my settlements look like. But I will tell you that everything I'm going to talk through with you is going to be 100% here on the public record. And the second part of that is disparaging comments. You're going to see that in every settlement agreement you sign. It means I won't talk shit about Snap-on. And I don't. I think they're a great company. I use them for all of my 4 auto dealerships. We just came at an impasse. I had a 660 credit score because they had $7,500 worth of a scan tool on my credit that they said I owed them, and I said no. I gave this back to you in good faith. So that was our justiciable controversy, was them on my credit profile, and then I ultimately showed them where they were breaking laws by being on there. So if you go through the docket, this is what the front page looks like. I don't mind. Hell, this is my, I know Brandon's kind of goofy about that. Fuck, this is my house, man. Send me a credit, send me a card. This is my cell phone. You can text me, you show up and you're unannounced and you have bad intentions, then we'll take it from there. But just don't. I'm Indiana in the Midwest. I got a lot of arms and shit, so that's not a threat. It's just send me a card, send me a text, but don't send me no dumb shit. So here you will see these are the attorney names. This is the young man I dealt with 100%. His name's Joseph Kern, big firm in Chicago. They're $1 billion company, Snap-on is. So this young man, I can't say enough good things. He's a bar card. Typically, you hear me talking shit about bar cards. This one I won't. He was a good dude. We had a lot of differences, which we can talk through. But he essentially trained me on the other side, and he didn't realize what he was doing. So anytime he'd say, Mr. Kimbrough, you can't do that, I showed him, and you'll see that where I did do it. So all of the attorneys that had filed in, and when you're also going to see that this young man, when he filed in strategically, I reached out to him right away. So right here, you see, this is kind of the docket number you'll hear referred to a lot of times. If you click on this, and we can, I don't know if you want to do that or not, Brandon, we can show some of the docs that are here. But what I would say is,
Sure.
anytime this case here, what I did, and this is what I told Brandon early on, if you could look at a cover sheet, it would show you the numbers that are associated with each argument, meaning mine is credit related, so it's a 480. So what I did early on is I got in Pacer and I just wore it out. I spent hundreds of dollars. I looked in my district and every other district for 480 related cases, everything that was credit related. And what I did is I just took like 5, I downloaded a ton, but I took like the 5 top bar card complaints for anything 15 USC 1681, and I just basically created my own. Yeah, I'll bring one up. I mean, I'll show you here's what my complaint looks like. And by all means, steal it, man. I mean, make it your own, and do what I did, which is download selected, make it your own, and go from there. That's what I did. So I created little bits and pieces of. I don't know why it's not bringing it up. But
if you click download, it should.
Yeah,
is there like a download tab or something going on in the background or something?
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with it, honestly, but
if you go back and then you go to
yeah.
Instead of download, you can do. You have to pay again, whatever. But if you do view documents, it should just pop right up without having to download it. View selected.
So view selected. Yeah, it's still going to try to
view document. Click on that.
Yeah, I did, both of them. So maybe it's something to do with the software that we have here or something. Typically, I would hit that and it just pops right up and charges me whatever, for whatever reason, it looks like it must be the software that. But anyway, I think we can get through. You guys, by all means, click on this, look at my stuff. The 3 things you're going to need, and I'll go from the very basics. A lot of times, Brandon, by all means, stop me if you hear me kind of going at a higher level. But the 3 things that you're going to need to file is a complaint, a civil cover sheet, and a proposed summons that you have here. Who are you going to sue, and where are they at? The civil cover sheet just fills out all of the basics. You guys can click in these and take a look at it. But those are the 3 components that you're going to need. So you already saw, the complaint, civil cover sheet, proposed summons. So when you file those, I filed this on June 15th of 22. The clerk is then going to put it on the docket. They're also going to send you a magistrate judge's notice, which is giving the magistrate jurisdiction. So
Real quick,
yeah.
when you file the complaint and the civil cover sheet and the proposed summons, when I did mine here in California, you have to hard mail it all in, and you paper clip it. You don't staple it because they scan everything. Is it the same for Indiana?
It is a little bit different, and you send it all in, so it's a little bit different. So I had a temporary file, and I'd say whenever you go research your court, like mine's the Southern District, I would look and see what the requirements are. For me, there was a temp email file, so I could literally email all of my stuff, and that's right here why it says no fee paid with this filing, because I literally emailed everything to the clerk's office and I hadn't even paid yet. So you'll see that I came in the next day and paid. So it's kind of a little bit misleading. It looks like I'm a dead dick that didn't want to pay my filing, but I called the next day after I'd already emailed stuff and caught them. And then here's the receipt for the 402 I paid. So yeah, it's a little bit different. Every court's a little bit different. So just kind of jump on the page of the court that you're going to be filing into. And there's a whole course that I'd love to put together to go into the specifics about how you find the court and, getting into a little bit farther in the weeds of all of these things. Each one of these docket numbers, I could have a module on. Literally, it's that,
We'll probably do all that at some point. I mean,
think so.
This is just a bit more of like an overview video because it's our first one, but obviously we'll be doing more videos. When I sent in my Amex case, everything was paper clipped, and then there was a check enclosed, and then I sent it all, I think, certified or registered mail to the court.
Yep, and I paid over the phone with a credit card and emailed everything. So yeah, it's completely different wherever you're at. I mean, you would think that you would have some uniformity, but it's not. It's they'll let you know though. I mean, honestly, the clerk's office is pretty easy to get along with. I mean, they're going to answer your questions to the best of their ability and point you in the right direction at least. So yeah, I would spend, a couple of hours just go overview of kind of where you're at, what the court specifics are. And, we can bring that up honestly, if you want to. So Southern District of Indiana.
Yeah, how do you know? I mean, it's pretty easy to figure it out because there's only like 3 or 4 typically to even choose from. But how do you typically know which one? How do you know you're in the Southern District?
You'll get on here, and so I would either call the clerk's office and tell them you'll go by county. So that's
by county, okay.
Yeah, it's by county. So I'm in Howard County, Indiana. And you just get through here, and there's a federal. I don't see it on here, but you can do a federal lookup and it'll tell you, you can go that route, and it'll tell you exactly what court if you put your address in, it'll tell you which court you're in, or call the clerk's office, or so federal, let's do that too. You're going to get me.
You can also, one of the things too, just on the side note, because I didn't do this part, you helped me do this part, but in terms of immersion and in terms of getting yourself out of terror and fear and that kind of thing, I would actually recommend personally, especially if you're just starting, to head down there and speak to them in person and kind of snoop around. I walked around Stanley Mosk Superior Courthouse. I actually wanted to pretend as though I was a lawyer because I felt so awkward and I felt so weird being there and walking around. And I figured there's cameras everywhere and there's security everywhere. So I thought it's probably safer if I look like a lawyer. So I put a whole suit on, and I took my briefcase and I cleaned it. I mean, it's pretty clean, but I cleaned it. And I was holding my briefcase and I was walking, and I looked and I was watching how other lawyers walked, and I would walk in the same way. And I walked up and down, and I went through all 8 floors, and I just walked. I walked like both sides has elevators. So I went up escalators. So I went up the escalator here, and then I would walk all the way down to the other side of the courthouse. And then I went up the escalator on the other side. And then I went all the way back across the other side. And then I went up the escalator, and I did that on all 8 floors. I was very nervous, but it's just kind of one of those things where just smell it, see it, go, walk it. You don't need to like do anything or go anywhere. There's like a self-help section on the first floor of Stanley Mosque. There was another library. There was the civil section. You're just kind of walking around and just kind of getting a lay of the land a little bit, and then you can talk to them a little bit, and then leave. That's what I did the first time. I was just like, that was already enough for me. I was nervous, but if you just call, then what happens is then when you finally do get your day for your hearing, then you're really going to be fucking terrified going in there. You're not even going to know nothing. You're going to be shaking in your boots. Whereas if you go in there once or twice or head down there, even though you could call and it might be easier, what's going to happen is you're interacting with the physical location, the physical building, go in the bathroom, use the bathroom, get yourself connected, and then when it finally comes for the hearing, you're not going to feel like you're going to a foreign land and you're just totally lost and terrified. It's going to be, again, it's just immersive value of doing that. Just my own 2 cents on it. Plus, they get to physically meet you, and it's not just some horse shit over the phone, which starts to build that relationship that you should have with these various areas, such as the clerk's office.
Yeah, you're dead on. It's a little bit different at each courthouse too. I mean, I've talked to at this point several people that have been in a lot of different federal courthouses. In Indianapolis, I was just down there maybe a month and a half ago for a hearing, and it's a little bit different. So you'll walk in and the intimidation factor hits you really fast. So United States Marshals are standing right there at, metal detectors. So I had to go through that. And then there's a sleeve that you got to put your phone in and they lock it up and you can't use, so no access to your phones.
Interesting.
Yeah. It's just, and
we don't have that here.
Yeah, I know. And I've heard that in other courts too. So maybe, we got a lot of crazy people in Indiana or whatever that is, but so I'm not sure the intimidation factor was really needed, but, anyway,
we have a downtown area, super monster, huge building, super old, huge. It's like a whole city block, 8 stories high, in the downtown area. A lot of cool stuff happening down there, and they have the metal detectors, and the guys there are fairly nice, and it's just kind of quick, and they just kind of want to get you through fast, and that's it, and then you're inside. There's nothing. There's no sleeves. There's none of that there.
So on the 15th of June, I filed these docs, and you will too, to be successful. The proposed summonses are the biggest thing that you're looking for kicked back from the clerk. If there was any advice I could tell you, like Brandon said, contacting the clerk's office, this is it. So you can't send all of your shit off, and a lot of people will do that, and they make a mistake. You've got to wait until these proposed summonses turn into summonses to be issued. So for here, you can see it was 1 week later to the day. If I could click on this thing, you would see that it's got the clerk's stamp, signature, and the date on it. These are the ones that go with your shit. So do you want me
to pull this up on my end?
You can. I mean,
do you want me to do a screen share? You want to control me while I do this so I can pull up the docs?
I just stopped sharing so we can see.
Let me pull up the. Do you know your case number by heart, or you just read it to me? Southern
District of Indiana. It's 1:22 -CV.
Hold on 1 second. What is it again?
I just sent it to you in the chat too.
Okay, good.
1:22 -CV. Did you get it?
Yeah, can you still see my screen?
Yeah. Yep. Docket report. Do the terminated parties there too. I mean,
okay.
Yeah, there you go. Oh, awesome. Great.
Yeah, you wanted to see this one?
If you want to click on that one, that'd be awesome. So that's the summonses that are going to go along with. There you go. So that is what I was looking for to come back. And, of course I was a bit I wasn't I wasn't wanting to wait. So you see on the summonses, I put all three defendants here as you can. Of course, it's got my info, who it's going. They got 21 days to answer. But the important thing is it's got the docket number on here now, the cause number right there. So that's not on there until this particular point in time. The shit that I put on the record does not have the cause number. So, what I do is I cut this number out and I'll put it on my complaint at the top, and then I'll send this to along with it. So you go down just a little bit, you'll see like the next page, Brandon, where the clerk, there you go. It's got the stamp, it's got the date, and it's got the cause number in it. So it's official now. Yeah, somebody's being sued now, and the clerk knows it, and they just gave you the thumbs up to go ahead. So that's the important thing. You don't want to get too jumpy. You don't want to send out your shit before it's time, and if you have any questions, by all means, give the clerk a call. But they'll tell you it takes between, I've had them instantaneously approved, and sometimes it'll take up to 2 weeks. So you just kind of got to, there's no, as you know, Brandon, there's not any quick thing happening in the courts. But we could go back to the docket. Okay, so let's go on down. All right, so now you got, of course, I was given the okay, so I mailed everything off, and in the process, you've got, the magistrate. I signed here, and I sent it in saying, yeah, I don't give a shit that the magistrate is used, so gave the okay there. You can or can't, it doesn't matter.
Is used?
Yeah, so if you don't want the magistrate, you don't sign this consent form. See, it's up here. They'll put that on right away. So I print it out, I sign it, I send it back. I don't give a shit if it's a magistrate or not that's making the decision. So
Notice, consent, and reference of a civil action to magistrate judge.
Yep. So I'm just giving the consent to use the magistrate in this cause of action as well. So
That's like a lower judge, basically.
Mm-hmm. So you got the big boy judge, that's the federal judge, and then you got the magistrate. That's you can think of it in simple terms that it's a helper, but they have full. If they make a decision and stuff, and everybody's consented to it, so it's binding. So.
What if you didn't because I never did this on mine, I don't think. What if you don't? Then you deal with the big boy, but it just takes longer?
No, I think that they'll still use the magistrate to help manage the case. It's just signing any type of big orders and stuff is going to come from the big boy anyway. So honestly, I've never seen where somebody is denied using the magistrate and raised any kind of hell over it. So,
okay.
So on docket number 6, that was me. I put, if anybody wants to click on this stuff, they can, but it's back to the evidence. So this is a lot of letters that I sent out, credit letters and shit like that. That's just a lot of evidence that I built out. So, get on there by all means, feel free, but it's all geared towards credit repair stuff. Here was a letter that I received from them and stuff. All I'm doing is piling a bunch of evidence on there that I have. Now, I don't know if I would do this again, but it was something I did before. Here's the letters that I actually sent them. So April of 22, that was the last one, the notice of intent to sue. Brandon kind of knows my MO on how I do this stuff, but I'm pointing out a bunch of statutory stuff that they're doing wrong, and the fact that I let them know about it and all of that other good stuff. Here's the remedy.
The 2.0 litigation that we're going to be doing, filing soon with my stuff, is very similar to some of this stuff, and we'll break that all down once we get it all filed.
Gave them $1,000 per violation. That's a statutory thing. And I gave them 10 days to send me a check and, all that good stuff. I got evidence on here, exhibits that, a $2.1 million loan I was denied. Here's the credit stuff. This is called a tri-merge report. I use Identity IQ, and I'll just go across and look at stuff that's different. And if you know anything about it, EB is going to tell you, 1681 EB is going to tell you everything about they have to have maximum accuracy, and that's what I stand on. Now, here is stuff that there's the 3811s where they signed it, so I reference this whenever I'm getting into the trenches and some of the discovery that we'll see here in a little bit. That's probably the most exciting thing to see through this conversation at all is the discovery, because Brandon's heard me talk about it till I'm blue in the face, but I actually have it here to show you, so it's kind of cool, and it's between me and the attorney. So these are just all letters and shit that I'd sent. I put it on the record, and I didn't need to do that. I could have sent it in through an affidavit or whatever, but so that's all that docket number is giving you. And yeah, it looks like the quality there of them scanning it was kind of shitty, but there's a BBB complaint. So I go crazy when I do this stuff. I'll file BBB complaints and CFPB complaints and, all of this stuff. And I just let them kind of hang themselves, because they'll respond and they'll say, hey, Mr. Kimbrough is really fucked up and he doesn't know what he's talking about. And, and then I use that later against them. This is CFPB complaints here. So that's kind of the whole game with the credit deal, and the best way to go about it. So yeah, let's go on down. Now you'll see after that, you've got, this is me now. I've now sent everything off. I've received all my 3811s back. This is me letting the court know. I've noticed the court now that with an affidavit as well. So you'll see affidavit of service for Experian and Equifax and Snap-on. So I'm now filing a notice, and I'm attaching an affidavit with that, and I have the 3811s and stuff to show where the clock starts ticking now. They've all received my summons and complaint, and I'm letting the court know that they received the summons and complaint. So when you file that notice of service of process is what it's called, then you're going to start seeing attorneys file in, because if you're a dummy and they know you're a dummy and you don't file this, then it's like they can play dumb and they've never been told. So July 6th is when I actually start seeing attorneys file in, and later on, we'll go back to my stuff, and I'll show you that literally on July 6th, I reached out to this young man, Joe Kern, said, hey man, and I would recommend anybody doing that. So, as soon as you see one file in, say, something short and sweet. Hey, appreciate you filing in, Mr. Kern. Looking to resolve this issue as quick and amicably for both parties as possible. And literally you'll see he responded back on the same day and says, hey, thanks. Yeah, give me a call. So started the conversation.
7/6. Are you talking about this stuff?
July 6th. That's when you start seeing appearances by the attorney. So that's when they now they'll file corporate disclosures as well. They're required to, if they're a public entity that's owned by anybody else. And this is just kind of high level stuff that you don't really need to worry about. But the corporate disclosure stuff is between them and the court, where they tell the ownership of the corp and stuff like that. So
on the 7th, we have another one from Stephen D. Brock on behalf of Equifax. So we have, that was the last one, it looks like here. Or, oh wait, there's more here. Actually, there's another one, corporate disclosure on the 12th as well. So all of this.
You've got some other people that are going to file in here. You got a lot of that. Here's Experian. So this is a local attorney in Indianapolis. They hired him. I actually, with Experian, I worked with another young man that you'll see coming up here pretty soon, but he filed in Prohack Vice, I think is what it's called, where he just says, hey, I'm not admitted to this, but I'll pay the $100 fee. And he was the one that Experian wanted. Well, the court will make them hire somebody local as well. So that's not a big deal. So yeah, here he is, Bo Alexander. He was the guy for Experian. So
looks like an extension of time was requested here.
That's an automatic thing. So yeah, they're automatically going to get a 30-day extension of time. What Snap-on did is they reached out to me and they said, hey man, could we file an unopposed extension of time? And I'm like, hell yeah, man. I'm being their friends at the onset. I don't want to be an asshole at all. I'll do whatever. And you'll see they extend the same thing to me if I need it. So that's what
we never got any of that in any of our cases.
No, it came straight asshole right out of the box.
Our cases are just straight, just by the time we say hello, there's already we already threw 2 clips on we're loading the third one in, and there's bullet holes everywhere.
Here's an important event here. That was my birthday 2 years ago. Scheduling order. So that's when and she was a magistrate judge, Deb Vick Lynch. She actually put the scheduling order on the record and said, all right, here's how discovery is going to go down. Here's what's, we're going to have a call. So she did. She put a call out there too. And we all got together, and that's when she starts asking me, hey, is there anybody that's helping you with this? Is there anything, they'll try to pry all the answers out of you. You just have to, I said, hey, I got an advanced degree. I'm learning about this stuff. I think if you give me an opportunity to, show you that, she's like, no, I can tell you're going to be fine. So, the court was fine. I talked to the attorneys. I was fine. You don't have to be an asshole right out of the box. And you'll see the biggest event to date is Equifax. We settled right here. And I do that strategically. And I've kind of given you my MO, Brandon, why I do that. So I filed on June 15th. By July 22nd, I've already let Equifax out. A lot of conversations, a lot of measuring dicks, if you will. And they were, less than cordial. But we got through it. What'll typically happen is if you bang it out with somebody, they'll give you another attorney later on. So there was a guy, he was an asshole, and I start out with like, I cannot wait to get to a jury appear, and then he'll think I'm nuts, and and we go back and forth. And then the next day, the lady called and says, hey, if you want to settle this, you can. So yeah, I filled this out, the proposed order. She approved it. I'm not going to say the amount, but it was several times what my 402 entry fee was. I do that strategically, shows the court and everybody else that's in it that I'm willing to play ball. So, Snap-on would tell you, and they did, Mr. Kimbrough, you let out the wrong person. You should have kept the two credit reporting agencies in this. And I said, well, Mr. Kern, they gave me something that was, valuable outside of the monetary piece of it. And I could show you that, Brandon. I will here in a little bit, but I got an 839 credit score out of it. I went from 660 to 839, nice. Probably one of the top in the nation at that point. So he's like, okay, I get it. Shit. So anyway, that was literally overnight. I went from 660 to 839 by letting them out. So I made several times my money at this particular point. I'm happy my credit scores went through the roof, and now I'm learning along the process. So now you've got Snap-on is answering the complaint. They're doing what they do, and, not a big deal. Everything's moving forward. The court's now taken this stipulation of dismissal. They've now turned it into an order. So they've just taken my wishes and Equifax's and says, you know what, they're out of this thing with prejudice. They're good. Kind of the way that works is July 27th. The date that we signed is I cannot sue them from July 28th back into history. Anything from July 29th on, if they do dumb shit, I can sue them again. So that's what that means. So anytime you sue somebody and there's a settlement agreement, it's from the day you sign until, back into history. Mm-hmm. So, here's where I started being an asshole. It'd be I'm holding my hand. I'm the first one to admit it. Motion to strike. This was me trying to tattletale that the attorney was not, docket 26. I was just saying he's not admitted into the court, and he was cool as shit. He reached out to me and he said, hey, would you please take that down? So when I found out he was admitted into the court, that's one of the things I always look at, is because a lot of times you will find that attorneys are in there and they're not admitted to the bar of that court. So I was just tattletaling on him right here. He could have been an asshole, and our relationship could have went 180. But he reached out, showed me where he did have the authorization to be in the court. And I said, yes, apologies. And then I filed the appropriate order there and everything. And we were fine. We got back on track. But, hindsight's 2020. I would not do that again unless I had 100% assurance that I was, in fact, right on that. So,
because you're kicking the beehive without really knowing what you're doing.
I did. Yeah. And that was, it was amateur's mistake. So
it's sort of like the AG, or it's sort of like the AG Texas federal case that we're in now. Mm-hmm. And I kicked the beehive real hard. I think it was yesterday or the day before that, because they've been playing stupid for months. Mm-hmm. So I finally just kicked the fucking hive as hard as I can. If anybody wants to log into the AG Texas federal case and look at my most recent filing, you're gonna get a big kick out of it.
Yeah, it's a good one.
It's spicy. It's spicy, man. It's like
We'll see. So you can see here, docket 27, 2 weeks later, I let Experian out of it. Now, that was a lot of conversations. That was a lot of back and forth, and it was a lot more money. So now I'm up a lot more money than what my 402 filing fee was. So
by docket 207, you had let out 27. You had let out a second person, so two in total, and each one there was some undisclosed settlement amount for each individual one, and they were increasing by the second one from the first one.
Yeah. It was 2.5 times to be exact, and the first one was pretty large. So yeah, this one here, it was one of those things where they waited a couple more weeks, and I really was not geared to. I didn't have to settle with them. We could have went the entire distance, but they saw that I was right. That's the key with building the evidence. No matter what your argument is you've got to get it on the record. You have to have communications. A lot of people don't like to talk to attorneys and stuff, and you have to. If you're going to get in here, you have to be able to talk to them. They're always going to say, send me a settlement demand. And if you don't know what a settlement demand is, I would say that would be a good place to start. And it's literally what it says, what do you want to have happen? For me, it was, I want this horse shit off my credit record and the inaccuracies, and I show the law and stuff, and I put the amounts on, and then I send it to them, and they either agree or not. And in this instance, they called me back and says, hey, well, could you take X less? And I said, yeah, man, let's split the difference. So at this particular point, we're a month and a half into this case. I've let out two of the three defendants, and now it's on like Donkey Kong. So I've made a ton more than what I paid to get into it. My credit score is through the roof. I'm happy as shit, man. So I don't have a lot of incentive to not take Snap-on all the way. So here the court has given me the order here that's saying, hey, we're going to let them out. No, this is actually, that was where I told him I was an asshole to the attorney, and I admitted it, and the court was fine with it.
Remove incorrectly filed documents, docket 28.
So that was me just holding up my hand and saying, hey man, sorry. So and then 30, you've got the order of the dismissal, and that was for Experian. I'm letting them out of the game now too. So same thing as before. Now you have a pretrial conference that we showed up with. So, so they're scheduling that, which is a great thing. That is something that you've definitely got to get yourself prepared for. What it consists of is you go on and you start out, and it's just, Mr. Kimbrough, why are we here? And you just go through the whole bit saying, hey, you know what? I checked on my credit reports. I found these things. I told them. They said pound sand. I told them again. They said pound sand. I told them again. I lost a $2.1 million loan, blah, 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 blah. And then they come on and they say their bit. And then we kind of part ways, at that particular point. We played well together. We want to let the court know that. So myself and Mr. Kern were both giving this judge here the assurance that we were playing well together. She loved hearing that. So that's what they want to know. They want to know the case is moving forward well. They want to know that you're playing well. We're already talking about settlement conversations. We're doing all of these things. We've started discovery and that process and the whole bit. So that's what that conversation is all about. And it's not horrible. It's 15, 20 minutes that you're on the phone and then you go away.
Unless it's me and we just yell at each other and then hang up.
You hang up and you get threatened and sanctioned and all that stuff. Yeah. Oh, shit. Wouldn't have it any other way.
That was my first time at bat, though. Whatever. I mean, they're going to, I think as the problem is they all think I'm crazy. And I think as people start to realize that I'm not, I think a lot of that's going to go away. But I'm operating from a point that even the judges in the bar, they don't have a clue what's going on. So we have to get up, and we're starting at below zero on these cases. We're starting at like negative 100. We have to fight like hell just to get it up to zero. And then I think once we hit zero, then we can start to have cases more like this.
Yeah.
Because this is a case that these people have seen a million times and they know what it is and they know it's real. They think that our cases now are all just fictional fantasy land. They're gonna learn real fast that it's not. And when they do, then I mean, by the time they start learning that what we're doing is not fictional fantasy land, it's not just us that's going to experience change. The whole world, the whole country, the whole judicial system is going to shift from this. So it's a pretty big deal. It's not going to happen overnight. And it's like I have to pound my fucking skull on the wall for a bajillion times for months and months and months just to get them up to a point where they realize that any of this is even real. That's a whole different, it's a whole, I'm starting, it's like starting a video game at the most hardest difficulty level.
That's not a good place to start either when you're trying to learn and stuff. But yeah, we're going to figure out your complaints just like I figured out this one. And I had enough experience behind that to figure this one out pretty easily. Your stuff is just like you said, they have not seen that. The laws and the codes are there. It's just putting it all together. And you know what? There's a very good chance that we're going to have to file a couple appeals, as we very well know. And, get
well, I
some
think the big
language.
thing is if I can get in front of people in person, I think I'd actually have a better chance because I'm so animated, because I'm so loud, because I'm so intense, and because I know the information so well. They're going to see, holy shit, this is real,
And that's where I'm at with this. They can't throw me off on this stuff. I know exactly what the statutes say. The thing that you have highlighted right there, right now, this is a very line in the sand thing here too. So this was one of those where I could have ended the entire case right here on October 26th. They had now said that they would forgive the amount of debt that they thought I had. They had offered me a little piece of cheese. And I said, yeah, I'm just not interested in that. I'm going to go ahead and sue. There they are. So if you look at the top, you'll see that I sued everybody under the sun. So I sued the CEO, the president, and two of the board members, I think. Three board members, maybe. Two board members. No, three. So anyway, I did that, and it was one of those things, and this is what you're going to face, guys. You're going to face a lot of Joe Kearns telling you, Mr. Kimbrough, you can't do that. You can't sue them. There's a corporate veil that you can't pierce, blah, 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 blah. So it was one of those where this is my favorite saying that I've said a million times. Mr.
I know what you're
Kern,
saying.
We are going to have to just disagree, agree to disagree on something. And I kept saying that, and then I kept saying, I can't wait to get in front of a jury of my peers that hate banks and hate lawyers. And, he would chuckle and stuff. And that's kind of relationship you develop. So what this right here, this motion that you're looking at, did is I amended the complaint. I added those five more defendants. I had summonses that were attached to it too, as you saw, for each of those defendants. What this led to, of course, he responded in opposition, and then that led to a hearing. So at the hearing, it was the same thing.
Hold on, why is this? It's 42 pages long. This amended complaint.
Okay. Yeah, it's the entire complaint all over again. It resets just because I added defendants. So what this did is it got us a hearing. He pled his case, I pled mine, and as you would see from the docket, the court sided with me. They said, you know what? Yep, we're going to approve this. So I could have been that guy that called him. And so this is good. Actually, you're seeing my complaint here now that I was referring to earlier that I couldn't bring up. So, yeah, by all means, use this if you like. I mean, it's one that I developed, and I'm crazy about evidence, as you'll see, and times and dates that I sent things and who received them and all that other stuff, if as you go through this. But I called up Joe Kern, and you'll see certification. And I told him, I said, you should be very happy right now. And he goes, why is that, Mr. Kimbrough? I said, I just 5x'd your retainer. And he kind of chuckled again. And he said, well, there was a lot of read across, but yeah, we did do. So I said, jokingly, I'm assuming I'm going to be on your Christmas card list next year and stuff. So we kind of got that. There was a mutual respect there, and he got a lot more out of that. Now, my point of this is, that was October, end of October. I ultimately settled the entire case in April of the following year. So it cost me about an extra 6 months. I could have had this thing done in 4 completely. But I wanted to go as far as I could in this case. I knew I was going to get the W. That's obvious. And, so they went ahead, they approved everything, ordered granting, Snap-on's unopposed. Yeah, that was us talking. Joey Kimbrough proceeding pro case. Yeah, filed a notice of. Okay, so this is a subpoena. This was Experian being assholes when I told them I needed information. They said no. So that was actually a very good thing as well on docket 39. They gave some really horse shit, as you'll find out. There's a lot of that says, nope, I need something from a judge that's signed. So I created this proposed orders right here, and they filed it. So anyway, you'll see later on too that I got the subpoena approved. The judge signed it, and then they sent me the information that I needed. And this is all discovery too, by the way. So they're basically saying they're not going to conform with discovery, and if you don't know what they're saying, you're just going to take that and roll with it. So again, this was for me. This was all about learning the entire process and getting as far as I could get. And I got that subpoena. Experian sent me everything I wanted, and it worked out very well. So
They said no. Where did they say no? Here, 41.
Yeah, I don't know if you're going to see it here. I was tattletelling on them. I've got it whenever I share my screen.
1, exhibit letters. 2, exhibit subpoenas. This one, motion to compel discovery.
That's the subpoenas right there. Yeah, that I created. Yeah, so when you do something like this, the judge is more than happy to give him a little bit of a spanking. So I showed them exactly where they were saying, yeah, go fuck yourself. I'm not. Here it is. This is where they're telling me unable to comply with the request is issued. Basically, we need a judge to sign it. So I said, okay. So I went and got a judge.
So you sent them a subpoena request without a judge signature?
Yeah. Yeah, oh yeah. And they should have complied. Hell, they were just in the case. That's what I told them. I was like, hell, I just let you out of the case, you dumbass. So, okay. Yeah, they didn't want to play well. And
so please provide a valid subpoena or notarized authorization, and we will promptly process your request. Okay.
Isn't that funny? And I never gave them $30 either, I can tell you that. So, yeah, there it is. That's the subpoena that I created and signed. This is the other thing that I hate is an attorney can issue a subpoena right now. We have to go through the clerk and then ultimately through a judge to sign it. And that just goes through me like a hot knife.
It kind of makes sense, even as a devil's advocate, though, because like the kind of shit that pro ses do is just so fucking all over the place. Sometimes it's like so
we'd be
fucking.
Subpoenaing everybody. I'd be subpoenaing.
It's like I need naked photos of you, right, hottie, in 4 days, or you're going to prison, kind of a thing. You have no idea what they're gonna. I mean, yeah, yes and no. You know what I mean? It's like,
yeah, I can. I get it. Yeah, I get the reasoning behind it. It pisses me off when they get the
well, you could always couldn't you prove that you do one subpoena, you do maybe like one, and then you put in an order into the court to like, hey, I've shown that I can do this, I'm not retarded, like, can I have free reign to make the, or could you write up a proposed order to allow you to have that ability once proven that you're not crazy?
I think you could. You can move the court to do anything you want, honestly.
That's what I mean. Yeah, that's what I mean.
People don't understand that. But, they would come back with, well, who all do you need to be, so they'd want to know. So, yeah, here I'm just giving them my rider information and saying, hey, this is all the shit that I want. Give me these things. That's the rider to the subpoena. And that's what it looks like, man. And then I created the proposed order here, which the judge ultimately signed, and then she told me I was responsible for making sure that I drug it home. So we did, you know. So yep, that was a good one, and Experience sent me everything I wanted, and quite honestly, Snap-on wanted to see it too, so they were happy to help in any way as well. But the important thing to notice is that I could have had this thing done a lot. Right now, I would not go this route. If I were doing this for somebody else, I'd have their shit done as fast as I could. You know, I'm not going to drag
In
this
and
on.
out.
So in and out, man. So this was our conference. This was the one on the settlement conference. This
So
is
basically, we could say, because there's a lot of people that are out there floating around about credit repair.
mhm.
So basically, this whole show that we're doing right now is like the ultimate credit repair. It's not
It is, yeah.
only how to repair your credit, but to get paid in the process.
Yeah. Man, that was my intent, man. So the entry in the order you have right now was a telephonic conference that was the one where um, we just met and just kind of that happens. You'll have a hearing to just say, hey, all right, where are you guys at? This is something that attorney Kern helped me with. I didn't even know there was a such thing as a settlement conference. So he's like, hey man, why don't we go do a settlement conference? I said, fuck, what the hell is that? You know. So anyway, it's where we just all come together. It's a Zoom call. So the judge is on the Zoom call, and then they put you in separate rooms. So then I'm on it, and then of course the attorney for Snap on, and that Michael Walsh, who's a senior VP, he's on there as well. So somebody's got to be on there from every party that can write a check. That's the important thing that the court mandates. So we kind of get everything lined up, and then we have orders where we have to send specific information to each other before we get on there. 5 days before, I think it is, we have to send like a settlement demand for the court saying, hey, here's what we want. Well, there's where I think I turned something in like $16.75 million they owed me or something crazy like that. So they gave her a starting point where she's like, fuck. So she's a referee. I mean, so she's coming in there. She'll bring everybody on the Zoom call. You just, hey, again, Mr. Kimbrough, why are we here? Then I go through my bit, and then Attorney Kern goes through his bit. And then she says, okay, cool. I'm gonna separate you guys into different rooms. So she'll put us in different rooms, and then she'll pop over to my room, and she'll go, all right, Mr. Kimber, where are we at? What are we gonna do here? You know, this is like a big negotiating. She didn't know I'm a used car dealer guy, man. So I'm like, I was loving life. This was like one of my favorite things in this life so far, man. Is I was like, well, shit, I can't get a hard on anymore, and I got all this. The woman judge is like, I got so much emotional distress and stuff, and her face is turning red, and I'm like, oh, they've killed me. I told them all along the way, and you've seen the exhibits, and it's just, you can have so much fun with this meeting, man. And then they'll go back over there, and this went on for like an hour and a half, Brandon. She finally says, look, it's like she's wore out. She's like, I'm not going to be able to get anywhere with this, man. We're so far apart. You're at 16.5 million, and they're at like nothing. So anyway, we left that meeting, which it was so cool to be able to go to a settlement conference. I didn't even know there was such a thing, but that's another quiver in the the arsenal now. But so anyway, we got all of the answers from the complaints. Everything went on. You see the summonses were issued. I mean, as you go down a little bit, they then have to answer the complaint just like they did on day one. I didn't realize that. Anytime you amend the complaint, it starts over. So
We just did that in all of our cases. Yeah.
yeah. So they have to
But we had
answer
barely even
everything.
gotten started, so it didn't really matter.
Yep. This one had been going on for a while. So then they, that was part of that I was not frustrated about, but they now have to answer everything with all of that stuff. So it's like we kind of started all over, even though we did a lot of work before that. But it's you'll see people coming in and out of the case. There's always attorneys popping in and leaving and all this stuff. So yeah, not much farther than that. You're going to see that shit. We agreed on terms. So like right after that settlement conference, I think it was maybe a week later that we talked on the phone, and he, I told him again, I think this is going to sound really fucking weird, Joe, but I want to go all the way, man. I want to go. I want to be in front of a jury of my peers and stuff. And he thought I was a little touched in the head anyway, because I kept saying stuff like that, and he's not used to it. Usually people want to get out of it. But I've done a settlement conference. I've done all of these crazy stuff. This stuff. You see the entry from the settlement conference in February. It's like, okay, now what are we going to do? So he shot me something crazy, and I shot him something crazy, and then it's like another phone call the next day, and we were done. He said, "Look, I said I just want to make sure that Snap-on knows that that there were some issues here, that they did some shit that was wrong, and it caused me a lot of frustration." And he said, "Mr. Kimbrough, I'm going to tell you that anytime your name comes up anywhere, they're not gonna be real happy, man." So anyway, they sent me a check. There's confirmation of that. You'll see in some of the emails that that I'm going to bring up. But discovery is the biggest piece, Brandon. So let me can I share my stuff now again?
Sure. Yeah.
I want to.
There you go.
I want to show you that. That's the biggest piece that I think that anybody, if they could get it from anything from this, man, is the discovery is the thing that you hear me talk a lot about, and me and Brandon talk a lot about it. But can you see the bottom?
But yeah.
Can you see the bottom of the screen there now?
Oh yeah.
So this is and I got to be careful here because there'll be some stuff up towards the top that I can't show. But you'll see, remember that date on the timeline? July 6th.
Okay.
He reached out to me after I reached out to him and says, "Hey man, great speaking with you, blah, blah, blah." So, I sent a settlement demand and all of that stuff. The very day he filed in, I'm already communicating with him. So he's telling me that they retain it. So there's just a great conversation day one. And that's like, I want to start. So here I am with a, settlement demand, and I probably had something like $20 million or something on there. Who knows? I love starting somewhere that's crazy, but you'll see a lot of discovery and stuff here. And I mean, this thing goes all the way to the top. So there's a lot of communication that happened, I guess is what I'm getting at. So here it is, man. This is the discovery that I got from them. So I sent interrogatories, requests for production, and admissions. That's where did I go? Lost my shit. Well, let's pull it up again.
If you need to unshare the screen while you're digging around so you don't pull up something you shouldn't.
That's all right. So here is, can you see it now?
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay. So this is everything. So I wanted to show you, let's see if I can, okay, great. Here's the order on the motion to compel that that subpoena that I was talking about earlier. So I created this. That if anybody knows anything that's filed anything, if you file motions, you better file a proposed order as well. To say that the judges are lazy is kind of an understatement, and I get it because they have 600 cases on their docket, each one of them. So you'll create this to go along with it. So I created this order on the motion to compel. So I wrote it. She just scans it or has a law clerk scan it. But it's just granting me the motion to compel that subpoena, and you'll see the information that I had on my writer is right here as well, and then she signs it, and boom, then I send it. Good luck, boys. You don't answer this one, look out. So here is the 84 pages of documents that they sent me, but I'm gonna go down to where I know this is the credit stuff that people want to see right here. This is what my homies in here that think that they know credit repair and stuff, this is it. So this is what you're looking for. It's called an ACDV, automated credit dispute, whatever the hell the V stands for, verification or whatever. So this is the one where I sent the dispute to them. What this shows you right here is Snap-on sent this ACDV to Equifax. I sent it on February 21st. You'll see here in a minute that it's due on the 15th. So they're putting all of these variables in here that they sent across to Equifax. Snap-on did. But it tells you down here. So I look at this thing with a crazy set of eyes. I look at a lot of things, this being one of them, date of last payment. Keep in mind, that date right there, February 1st of 2020. And then we're going to go down here, and this is the stuff that's going to get Brandon excited. There's a gentleman here named Anthony Latta. Of course, I called this phone number because I'm that kind of guy. I wanted him to pick up the phone and say, yeah, snap on, blah, blah, which he did. And here's the date that he certified. This is the key right here. By submitting this ACDV, you certify that you have reviewed and considered all associated images. You verify the accuracy of the data is in compliance with all legal requirements. Oh, I love this. This is beautiful. March 9th, 2022, guy named Anthony Latta sent it to Equifax. Well, looky here. Here's the next one, Experian. So now I go through and I look at the same thing. Is that the same date that you saw before, Brandon?
It's hard to see on my screen.
It's February 28th of 2020. So that doesn't sound like anything that is crazy, but if you know the FCRA like I do, it very clearly says maximum accuracy. So where that comes into play that I have justiciable controversy is because is February 1st of 2020 the same date as February 28th of 2020?
No.
Thank you. So, well, looky there. There's another guy named Anthony Latta. Same fucking guy. 5 days later, he certified that he reviewed and considered all the images and they're compliant with the legal requirements. So this was the greatest conversation to have with an attorney because they try the stupid shit. And I said, look, Mr. Kern, I'm not the sharpest pencil in the box. But if I'm doing this stuff, verifying it, and I'm the only guy named Anthony Latta at this phone number, and I'm sending these ACDVs to Equifax and Experian, and I'm doing it in a way that says that I certified 2 different fucking dates to 2 different companies 5 days apart, I don't think that's maximum accuracy, bro. And he knew he was dust, man. So we really didn't have to go any farther than that. I mean, if you're looking at anything, this is the kind of discovery that you want. Now, all the rest of the 84 pages are my payment history and all kinds of other shit. But this is what you're asking for is this stuff right here. You want them to send you confirmation that they reached out to the credit reporting agencies. That is the biggest thing that you're looking for in discovery is this kind of shit right here, where they're having 2 different dates and you have laws that say that it can't be if you're telling them maximum accuracy is the key. And these ding dongs are certifying and it's the same damn guy. So he's signing off on this stuff 5 days apart with 2 different numbers altogether. So that's the stuff that you win cases with in FCRA stuff. So this is it in a nutshell, man. I mean, there's not a lot more to it, but
what is that you requested? You might have already covered this, but just those documents up above you were just talking about. What are those documents called?
ACDV. It's a term that they know very well. So electronic credit dispute, automated credit dispute verification is what that stands for.
You requested an ACDV report.
I didn't. No,
okay.
I requested that they fix the shit that's incorrect. So I sent that to Snap-on, and I also sent a version of that to the credit reporting agencies as well. So,
and they just automatically do one of these and submit it into the record. It's just kind of like part of their checklist or whatever.
That's exactly what they're supposed to do. Now, if you didn't get one of these and you requested that, then they're fucked because the law clearly points. If you read through it, it says that they have to have processes and procedures in place to ensure maximum accuracy. And then if you got into 1681, there's 1681 S2 talks about the responsibilities of the data furnishers, and 1681 I talks about the responsibilities of credit reporting agencies. And if you read through those, it'll tell you that this shit's supposed to happen. So that's part of their procedures that they're supposed to be doing. Is if I send them letters and saying shit's fucked up on my credit report, they're supposed to be talking to each other. They have 5 days to do so, I believe it is. And hey, man, he's saying these things are wrong. So that's what these sheets are. Is it's like telling them exactly what I said was wrong with my credit report. And then, I mean, this, I can't even make this shit up when it's two different numbers that are completely almost a month off from one another. And I don't have to argue anymore. I know what it says, maximum accuracy. They know what it says, and there's not any escaping that. So that's what these are. And it's like this in any case. If you know the law and you know what they're supposed to be looking for, I mean, this is a big no-no too.
What is?
Application for business credit. Business credit shouldn't be on my personal profile. What are you talking about?
Mm,
So I raised a bunch of hell about that too. I mean, it's supposed to be for personal and household stuff. So yeah. Anyway, I mean, I have the letters here that they sent me where they were telling me, no, nothing's fucked up. You're good, bro. And, no. So I had all that, but I asked for all this. I said, hey, I want to see everything that was communicated back and forth, and that's what discovery is for, man. So yeah, so kind of how that went down is I can share with you, and this is not to be used for games, but it's one of those things that I think a lot of people don't understand. So the whole process for me was I sent in, I think it was February of 22, a letter and just said, hey man, I just did my tri-merge credit report.
you can unshare the screen if you want to talk.
There's stuff that's
There you go.
that's fucked up on my credit report, and I pointed out the specifics. It's the same shit you and I do. And of course they wrote back and says, fuck you, pound sand, there's nothing wrong with it. And I said, okay. So then in March I sent the second letter with a little bit more teeth. And that's when I point out the statutory stuff. And I said, hey, it's still fucked up, even though you don't want to admit it. Here's another report, and here's the statutory stuff that you're violating now. And at that point, I also went and applied for a $2.1 million loan, knowing very well I was going to get denied with a 660 credit score. So you got to be careful with that too, man. And there's people that would tell you to go apply for a $50 million loan and shit. It's got to be reasonable, and it has to be within your lifestyle. You have to be able to handle, what you're applying for. So both of those things happened in March. And then in April, I sent the notice of intent to sue, and I just timelined everything. It says, hey, February I sent you this letter. You told me to go fuck myself. Hey, in March I sent this letter. You told me to go pound sand. Hey, I also have the BBB and CFPB reports on here too. So I give them all that pile of evidence. I see the denial. Now I have actual damages on the loan and stuff too. And this is a notice of intent to sue. So, I have these things wrong. You can give me $1,000 a crack at 30 grand. We'll be friends and just fix my shit. I knew very well what was going to happen there. So they called my bluff. And in June, this is where people, I think, falter. You play that letter game. The letter game is to do nothing but create evidence for you. That's 100% what it's there for. That's all it's there for. And they're testing you to see if, in fact, you're going to do anything about it. So June 15th, as you saw, I filed my first federal lawsuit.
You want me to pull the docket back up again? Or are we good?
You can. I mean, it's pretty well. I mean, we're at the end of that docket now, but it'll show you at the end where we agreed, and everything was agreed upon, and yeah, stipulation of dismissal. There you go. So everybody got out of it. So the whole thing was dismissed, and I was made whole, and it took 10 months. But it was probably one of the better 10 months learning experiences I had, because there was so much packed into that 10 months. As some of our stuff, how it's moving. I had a shit ton of stuff going on, but it was perfect because I was learning along the way. I can do one of these now in no time flat, but there's a mindset with this stuff, Brandon, that I would say a lot of people that get into the credit space, you got to be really careful, because there's that let's play the game mindset, and I want something for free mindset, and all of this stuff. And you have to, I explained this to somebody a while back, that me and you not paying our Amex bill is not a crime, unless there was something fraudulent that you did when you applied for the Amex card. Now there's an issue there. But not paying your credit card is not a crime. whenever you get onto the credit profile, and if it's costing me through my credit profile by you reporting out information that's inaccurate, and there's a law around that, and there is, that's been written and on the record since 1970, now you have laws that are being broken. So I think that's the easiest way for me to explain that. Some people go into this thing and they think, well, maybe I am at fault. You're not at fault, man. You're not at fault for anything that you're pointing out to these clowns that they're doing that's disrupting your lifestyle in any capacity. So I think that's the easiest way for me to say it. I could have lived at a 660 credit score. I could have paid an ass load more in interest. I could have done all of these things with a 660, no doubt about it. But it was costing me so much drastically. And then I learned through that process what really was going on, the laws that were being broken and so forth. So I made the process, I put it in place, and, the steps and stuff to fix that. Now, there's a young man, I'll share this one story. 25-year-old guy, this will put it in perspective, reached out to me a while back. I used to have a lot of these conversations, and he knew kind of that I was the guy. So a 25-year-old New York City guy. He was starting a Turo business. He had $540,000 of automobiles on his profile. So he had maxed out his credit profile. Now, this young man, this is the type of guys I want to help. He was literally paying every one of his bills on time, not playing games. So he truly needed the help to grow his business. As soon as I went through his credit profile, it was much like mine. And I said, hey, you can get rid of this one. His name is Oleofe. Oleofe, you can get rid of this one, this one, this one, this one, and this one. He said, how do you do that? I said, well, they're reporting out inaccuracies. They're breaking laws. I mean, you just got to tell them they're breaking laws. As soon as you tell them, now you have remedy. So, it was one of those things where, of course, we talked back and forth, and he was mesmerized by somebody that said that they could get his stuff off in about a month or something like that. So we parted ways ultimately, but that is so true. I mean, so here's a guy, his credit score was literally, I think, a 525. And it wasn't because he didn't pay his bills. He did. He paid every one of his bills on time, every time, but his profile was maxed out. And, he was always going to be there. He's going to be a 525 when, in my opinion, somebody that's paying their bills like he was on time, he's an 800 just like I am. So anyway, he had the remedy there. He just didn't know how to do it to where he could have literally doubled the size of his fleet. He could have gotten all of those old cars off of there, gone because they were reporting them out inaccurately, and started the whole cycle over again. And that was I didn't have to sell him because I didn't give a shit either way, but so anyway, I mean, there's a lot of that. I used to see a lot of single moms that had just a shitload of horrible, inaccuracies on their profiles because they'd went through a shitty divorce or whatever that is. We all have those things in life happen. And, one of my sayings, now, and I'll stand by this, is if anybody has below an 800 credit score, it's their own fault. So, I mean, the remedy is simple. It's just you have to learn the process. And bankruptcies, that is the fucking easiest one in the world to get taken off of credit. It's literally, I could go through and show you where there's 3 things that can be reported out in your credit report, and that's not one of them. You did not give them the authority to do that. So they're going to allow you to live in 10 years of purgatory. With a bankruptcy, it's bankruptcy on your credit profile, whereas you could have it taken off in no time at all. So anyway, that's my pitch there, that, if you're under an 800, that's your own choosing, man.
Yeah, and with the 2.0s, the 2.0 litigation that you've seen, no one else has seen it yet. We're actually putting a fiduciary responsibility, and we're clarifying through a novation what exactly is the fiduciary responsibility. It's sort of like, you have this reporting agency, and they're reporting all this stuff, but do you realize you never signed a direct contract with them, and that you've never delineated what their actual services are supposed to be to you? So I came up with this idea. I was like, well, I'm going to be very, very, very specific as to exactly what is considered value and consideration, and I'm going to be very specific as to what is the value and consideration that holds together this contract. And I basically wrote it out and said, these things are value and consideration. These things are not. And you have a fiduciary responsibility. I'm naming you as a fiduciary. And if you guys do anything besides this, especially not this stuff, but if you do anything besides this, this is where we're going. which I'm not sure they've ever seen anything like that before. We'll see,
I've never seen anything like that, and I've seen just about every version of any kind of clownery in the in the credit space. But yeah, that's good. We also pointed out that's not really, I don't think, sharing anything that we don't want out there, but looking at the 18 code components that we've always had headaches with in the past too, spelling that out directly, and private right of action stuff. That's something I heard in my case. And you hear that a lot. There's two things that you're going to hear right at the onset. I didn't share this at the beginning, but when they answer the complaint, the first thing they're going to say is, "Oh, there's no concrete damages here." That's their legalese of saying there's no damages. But wait a minute, so I had counseling for 10. I mean, I built out my shit real good, man. I mean, I had counseling for 10 months. I'm going to sign HIPAA forms because that's the first thing they do. Well, yeah, we're going to make you sign HIPAA forms. Great. Yes, please send them. So I'm that one person that they like, I'm wanting to help you. Please send it overnight. I'll send it. I'll do whatever you got to have done. I'm showing them that I'm so willing to help them. Yeah, we're going to get HIPAA forms sent to you. And, great. It's designed to scare you. So, I'll put you in touch.
Why would that scare you, HIPAA form? Just because it's a lot of paper?
Well, most people will bullshit. I think that's the key. They're calling your bullshit. Well, I did the opposite. I sent interrogatories to my counselor and the banker. So the banker that denied my 2.1, I sent them both sets of interrogatories, and then I sent it to the attorney and said, "Here's what my counselor says. I'm fucked up. Here's what my banker says. They ain't giving me shit." So now, I mean, you have actual damages.
You got reports from your optometrist and shit. Fucking vision's gone down. You got going to like an ear, nose, and throat. ENT. Yes. Fucking. You got reports on that. That's hilarious, bro.
Play the game and get all of the evidence, and there's a whole playbook that you can create and do it right, man. I mean, I'm not saying play games. Like I said, there's everybody in the world's going to try to do it for the wrong reasons. It seems like I see a lot of that. Of people wanting something for free, a lot. But anyway, these concrete damages is one that they're definitely going to try to drive that home. So you have to show the damages. And
we haven't gotten a lot of that on our cases. Damages. No. They're just attacking
private right of action.
Well,
that's a big one.
Beyond that, they're just attacking. They're just saying it's all just craziness. The whole thing is just craziness. That's what they're saying. Basically, that's basically the gist of everything they say.
Yeah.
The funniest one was in the AG Texas case on the last one they sent over to us. They said Federal Reserve notes, AKA actual money. I fucking fell out of my chair laughing, bro. That's just so fucking funny. And what's funny is the thing I can't tell, and the thing that I want to learn more and more and more is, are they playing dumb or do they really not know? Like, I can't tell. I literally can't tell.
I think you called bullshit on their playing dumb by saying, "Hey, fucktards, we're not even talking about money here. We're talking about negotiable instruments, and here's where I'm referencing that." So they keep trying to drag you into the money thing, real money.
Yeah.
What is real money? First off, but we're not even talking about money here.
Well, I'm trying to stay out of that because it's just not even worth talking about.
That's right.
Yeah, it's irrelevant. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. So private right action is another thing you're going to hear a lot. They're going to say that, that's that 12B6 thing, where you haven't stated a claim for relief and you don't have a private right of action, all of that. You just got to, you got to go around that. You got to know how to answer the horse shit that they're going to give you. And,
well, really the whole thing is just throw some shit in there and just go through it and just learn as you go. And I mean, I don't think anyone is going to win their first case. I mean, that's going to be, maybe, but it's
well, I did,
that's not
but that was a lot of study before I even got in. And, that's again, back to the first part of this is I would recommend studying all of the bar card shit that they have in Pacer. So for me, it was
for similar cases.
Yeah, similar cases, man, in your district especially too. So you're going to know exactly how it's being ruled. So I took all of the 480 or the credit repair stuff in my area, and I there's 5 out of the 50 that I probably downloaded, and I took all of their shit and I made my own out of it, and use it to this day still. Actually, I like you, I definitions. I tell them what Oscar is. It's optical reader and the whole bit. So I educate them all along the way and let them know that I know what I'm talking about. And then I go into the specifics of the causes of the actions and all of that stuff. So I don't
have that option. I don't think all the cases I've looked at, that come even within, a million miles, like that one Martin versus Capital One, the one that they mentioned on the Amex case. Even that one, it's the guy's trying to send in additional promissory notes, and that's not really what my argument is. So it's what my argument is something that I'm not too sure if it's ever been brought up, and if it has, I may not find one. So we're kind of blazing the trail here on this one, but
Yeah.
I'm excited about it.
I am too, man. It's definitely uncharted waters, and this is the thing where I've told some friends, that I've helped through their credit stuff. You know the playbook by now. They're going to tell you, you don't have concrete damages. They're going to tell you don't have private right action, and then after that, if you're still hanging around and they haven't ran you off, now they're going to start the threats, the sanctions, and all of this other shit. So one friend, it was his friend Tim. So I don't mind throwing his name out here, but there was 8 defendants that I had in his case. They ran me off. First off, you can't be a POA. It's got to be attorney law, all that horse shit. They were after me so big there. And I finally went to him and I was like, Tim, look, the only way we're going to do this, you're going to have to grab my hand, bro, and walk with me. I mean, so you're filing the shit, wink, wink, that we're creating here. And, we started that, and no less than twice in that case, they had started the threats to a level, USAA and Experian. And each instance, he was questioning whether he wanted to continue going on. And this is a guy that's got 2 silver stars, a veteran. So that's the level of intimidation and stuff. And I was like, look, they're going to do this, and this is how they do it. And it's that, they're going to threaten you with all of the attorney's fees and all that horse shit. And it's not going to work, and he hung in there, and we got all the way to the end. The last one was the Department of Justice. So he was fighting them. They took enough time off from going after Trump for a while that they stuck to us. But it was, the threat with them is hey guys, just going to let you know the typical hourly, we don't do that. And they were letting us know that, hey, you're paying the tab here anyway as a taxpayer. So the billables is just thrown out the window with the Department of Justice or any organization. But it took about 1.5 years in his case. All 8 of his defendants paid us. It's one I told you about where Experian on the call with the judge says Joey Kimbrough is creating a cottage industry, and we're not going to have. So Experian loves me, by the way. Every time I see one of their app commercials, I'm like, they love me. So
they're going to love me now too. They just got that. I just sent the second letter yesterday.
Yeah. They literally get millions of letters, I've been told. So for a while, we were trying to build out some stuff for some of the big attorney players in this space. And they said that literally the CRAs, credit reporting agencies, get millions of these things a week. That's why they have eOscar set up. It literally optically reads the shit and kicks you back a canned response, cookie cutter. I mean, that's the volume of how many of these that they get. It's just crazy. So
it's ridiculous.
Yeah. But there's plenty of other opportunity. I mean, plenty of other examples that I have of just the craziness that goes on in the court. And yeah, maybe we can do a follow-up video at some point. Just some of the state case stuff that I have is just downright ridiculous. I mean, there's one case where it's been going on like 5 years, and one of the excuses they used to not show up was the attorney's cats died and stuff. And it's just, it's laughable. I mean, some of the shit that you see that you're over a month late, and I pointed out, and then now you're saying your cat's died and you're using that as an excuse. I've literally heard just about everything, and here's
the website, williamsandwilliamslawfirm.com. Here's your about section. We've got 4 cases you listed here. One's MX, one Snap-on, one is combat veteran friend. This is probably
Tim. Yep, that's the one I was just talking about. Yep.
And then we have MX again. 4 different cases here.
Yeah, it's good. And there's plenty more of them. On the credit repair side, I've got a ton of them out there, and then there's a couple more in state court that I'm doing battle. I just enjoy it, man. It's going to sound kooky for somebody that is intimidated by lawyers in the courts and all that. I'm not. I think it's ridiculous that there's 2 things that you're going to find when you get in. They will obliterate rules and laws. And that's the only thing that the judge is supposed to be reliant on. He or she is a trier of facts and law, period. facts and law. So when you file in your complaint, if you throw an affidavit in it, as you should, and I would recommend that, then you've got the facts established, which ultimately, if it's unrebutted, which 9 times out of 9 they are, it becomes truth. Now the facts become truth, and now you've got the laws. So what you'll find, the rules, and there's a lot of case law on the rules that says that the rules have the same weight and bearing as laws do, statutes. And the courts are just as obligated to follow those. So there's a lot of decisions around that, but they'll play stupid on that. So your whole job, and that's why I say it's so easy, but yet we make it so hard, is because we'll jump into their whole arguing game. And like you said, Brandon, early on, is they'll take you down a different path. Here's what the rules say. Here's what the laws say. Here's how you ruled against either one of those, or probably typically both of those things. And you just have to keep pointing that out. And when you do, you're going to be successful. I will go on the record right now to say I will never lose a case in credit repair because I know it so well. I would love to say I'm never going to lose a case, period. And I think that if we hang into it, and I think we have the right mix of people, Brandon, that we were very clear on the front end too. Here's what's going to happen, and this could take a long time, and all that stuff. I think we have the right mix of people that is going to stay in there with us. I think if you stay, we're
still in. Case one is the only one that I told you straight from the get-go that I was concerned about the whole conditional versus unconditional. I wasn't totally sure, and I said that's the only area I wasn't totally sure on. All our other cases don't have that issue. It was just case one. And that's what case one was thrown out on. That's why I don't really want to pursue it. I mean, we'll see if we do or not. But the case 2, case 3, case 4, we're still in it. I mean, the MX case was dismissed, but now we have reconsideration. They've only got 2 more days to submit on the reconsideration, and then I get to hit them again once they submit something in, and then we can go to appeals. And boy, they responded to that motion for reconsideration in less than 48 hours, which shocked me. I couldn't believe that.
I would, so before we get too far away from that first case there's a lot. I'm more excited, I think, about that one right now than anything else because, I was like a little girl that got invited to the 8th grade dance when I sent you and the client a video because, as I pointed out, and we can't get too far into that now because I know there are people that are watching that.
We're not going to tip our hand on that one. Case one, we've got 2 beautiful, we got a master plan and a backup plan.
Yes.
And boy, they're going to be having some fun with this one.
But the backup plan, which was the original plan, was that this is going to help the masses. What is designed as an L is going to be a W. And here's how that's going to work. And it's just with your philosophy and what you're teaching is that, and I'll leave it at that. But the other part that I think we are okay to talk about was when I start reading things. I read the order. And I saw exactly what it says. And that's what you have to do to be very clear. You have to read what they're telling you. So her order was very clear, Susan's, that it is
Don't get into the specifics. Okay. Don't get into the specifics.
It's about you, but so the rules that they stated is where I'll leave it.
Yeah.
I was when I read that, I sent you and him a video of everything I put. I was like, read this 150 times, like I just did, man, because what she's saying is now what they filed, and then it's like, whoa, and it says that it can't, So anyway, we'll do a follow up on that.
Oh no, I didn't feel comfortable doing videos a lot on the other ones. I did a couple videos with Brandon Thomas over at Expanding Reality. I did a few shows with him breaking down some of the complaints, but in the back of my head, this 2.0 style that we're doing, I feel like it's the first, like my first real, our first real, like solid, like body of like this. It's almost like, it's almost better to say that case 1 was like alpha version, like 0.1. And case 2, 3, and 4 were like alpha, beta, like 0.2 or 0.5 or something. It's almost like these aren't really 2.0 cases. They're almost like 1.0 cases. It's our first like final product system. And I feel a lot more confident and comfortable once we file these cases, once I file them and once we're serving them, we'll do videos and we'll break the whole thing down.
Yep.
And that's kind of what I'm thinking, because we'll do the one for the Small Business Administration, we'll do the one for the DMV, and then we'll do one. We're not going to do 3 for the credit bureaus. We'll do just one to cover all of that. And then we got some mortgages coming up. We'll do something on at least one of those. So we'll do
Counties.
probably
Got the
4
county
and the
stuff,
county.
too. Yeah.
So we'll probably do 5 different 2.0 videos breaking down 5 different things: county, mortgage, loan, SBA, DMV, and then
Counties.
counties. I think I said counties first. Whatever, 4 or 5. We'll do 4 or
Yeah.
5 different breakdown videos to break down those cases and how we structured it and how it happened and the timeline and everything. I think that'd be good.
Well, I think the 2.0 version of that is just 100% around the evidence piece of it, and just making sure that we get everything nailed down to the point where they can't run anymore. If you give them any kind of, like on my case.
Well, they're just playing dumb all the time.
They
That's all they
are.
do with me. And the thing is, I just can't tell if they're dumb or if they're playing dumb. That's the one thing I just can't tell. Not that it really matters all that much, but it's just an interesting,
Yeah. Yeah, you would like to think that they're playing dumb, but, I don't know.
With
I think
this
it's
particular
100%.
argument that I have, I don't know if,
There's my credits, 839 there. That's what
Hell
it went
yeah.
up to. Yeah, August 2nd, right after.
Mine went way up after I started doing all the crazy Amex shit, and I don't even know how or why. I have no clue. I log in there now, and it's just chaos. There's all this crazy shit. I'm not even sure. I don't know what. So that's why I'm hoping after sending what I sent to the credit bureaus, we'll get that all cleaned off and cleaned up and organized, because it sure is a mess. I'm not even sure they know what to do with it.
No, that's the key. They're gonna see that thing coming at them, and we're gonna have to litigate it. There's no doubt in my mind about it. But I think that.
Well, Experian already sent me that automated letter saying that they're working on it. And I'll check everything before I file litigation. I'm not just going to file it. If they perform, then we're done. I'm not going to.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, just grab a tri-merge and see if anything had changed. And
for all I know, they're going to clean it all off. I have no idea. Who knows? I mean, eventually people are going to know my name, kind of like how they know your name, and they're going to be like, no, do not let that guy come after us, because he's never ever going to stop.
Well, it's always Experian too. Like, so I have a gal just down the street from you in Eastvale right now. It's the same court too, by the way. That's the funniest thing about it. But anyway, I've shared that with you, and so we're going through the discovery process right now. So sent a bunch of stuff. Experian's the ones that are being asshole. We've already. Here's the difference too. TransUnion always sends you somebody from their internal team. So it's a lawyer, but it's a lawyer that has TransUnion's shirt on. So they're more apt to settle as soon as you send something. So we did it right away. It was, hey, here you go, send a check, and it fixed everything. Experian and Equifax always send it out to outside counsel. When they do that, again, there's the billables. They want to crack Experian and Equifax, so they'll build up this whole thing. We've already sent, the discovery stuff, like you saw on mine, to both of them, and now they're kind of coming back at her and threats and all that other stuff like they do. So, she's been strong too. She's not wavered a bit, but the one thing they did there too that I found interesting that they didn't do in mine is they set a date for a deposition. I thought, oh, that's cool. I mean, I'd love to go to a deposition. I'd love to host one, actually.
My dream.
Oh man. So anyway, there's just a lot of that stuff. And the ask there, here's the key. You or I might ask for an ass load, compared to what most people might think is an ass load. But a lot of these cases, like I do, it's like people just want their shit fixed. They're not asking for an ass.
Oh no, I want to know what does the computer software look like? Which box do you click on? How long does it take to get into FedWire?
Right.
Is FedWire a separate computer system, or is it like something that's like web based? Is there like a login? Does it look like a 1996 computer program where it's just these simple little boxes like what you'd see on like almost like an MS DOS prompt? Do you upload the promissory note, or how does it get onto the FedWire, and then what does it look like? I mean, I could go 8 hours.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and they're going to say product work, knowledge kind of stuff, and they'll play games, and that's where you have to, know enough to say, hey, fuck this, we're going to stop right now, take a break, and call the magistrates chambers. Say, hey, look, we're going through discovery. They're here now. They're objecting to every damn thing we're saying, and then boom, there'll be a conference call there in the middle of the discovery process of the deposition. So they'll play the games as long as you allow them to play the games, I guess is what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
So yeah, like for your stuff, they're going to say it's proprietary. I can't tell you. Well, I'm not asking you to show me exactly how my credit score is created or any of that other stuff. I'm going to see the process. I know you as a bank can't loan me, credit. It has to be money. So I want to see the ledger to see where the money, if we're talking about mortgages or whatever that may be.
Yeah, I want
So
to see the swap and how does it happen? How long
yeah.
does it take? And what are the attachments that get attached to the promissory note in order to process it? Is it on FedWire? Do you mail it in, paper? Or do you have like a courier that picks everything up every day? Like what? How does it get transferred? How does it get transferred? How does it get processed? And then does it come back as a check? Does it come back as a direct deposit? Hell, I'd love to see on the direct deposit, what's the name of the depositor? Is it Federal Reserve Discount Window? Is it Federal Reserve Bank? What is it? And then who do they look at a computer screen and then they manually type it into the account number? Or, how does it work?
That may be something that, I probably don't want to get into it here, but, the Federal Reserve discount window would be one that might be ripe for a subpoena.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
You're not going to.
Oh, if you don't want to tell me, fine. I'll just go get subpoena the Federal Reserve because I have a feeling in the back of my head the Federal Reserve will just provide anything.
I think so. Yeah.
I don't think they give a shit at all, honestly.
No. Yeah,
because the thing is that at the end of the day, the Federal Reserve isn't. What they're doing is obviously morally horrifying, and I think anybody would say that. But in terms of the letter of the law, and in terms of any real fear of like actual legal process, they're not doing anything outside of the law at all. I mean, really, it's crazy. I know for a lot of people that's a crazy statement to make, but that's the reality.
They're
of the situation.
doing what we told them to do, man.
Yeah.
That's usually where it goes, and you find out we had that in one of the cases, and I brought that up quick. It's like, look, man, you had this agreement. We can't sue them. They're performing exactly how you told them to perform here, man.
They have it set up to where, they're pretty much insulated so much that.
So you've got to change that agreement. You've got to rescind the signatures. You've got to novate, all of those things that you know how to do that we're doing in the 2.0 version and stuff now. Maybe a future 3.0 would just be send it in and they send you a check.
There could be a 3.0, there could be a 4.0, a 5.0. I don't know.
Yeah.
We're just gonna roll until all these bank outages and all this craziness is happening. And my infinite money video, so we got like 1.5 million views on all the different platforms. So
That's
who knows?
crazy.
Who knows what's going to happen? For all I know, the whole goddamn system is going to collapse before I get my win. I don't know. Yeah. I don't really care, honestly. To tell you the truth, I just want the truth out there. I know it sounds kind of asinine, but I just don't. Got a great place to live. I love my car. I love my motorcycle. I got clothes. I got a bunch of great jackets, leather jackets I like. I don't know. I don't even know what would I even do with $30 million. Not to say that, sure, 50 million, 200 million, $700 million. I'll put it towards advertising, like I always say. But I don't have any want. I don't have any horrific desire to get this done or whatever. And if everything collapses before that point, then great. That just means that we all go back to silver and gold coins, and inflation goes away, and homelessness is gone, and the whole country can heal. So either way we're going to win. So I don't care which way it is. Either way is a win for us. So.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. I same spot. I mean, I'm in a really good spot in life, and everything is going great. I'm grateful for everything I have and everything we're doing, and I'm all about treading new waters and finding out the truth. There's some really cool dudes, as you well know, that I was on the phone with one of them the other day for about an hour and a half before I was working on some of our stuff and just kind of talking to him about some of his stuff he's got going on in New York. And there's a lot of good dudes doing a lot of good stuff and really crashing the backboards, and they're sharing stories and we're sharing stories. And I think that's the way we're all going to win, is if we just keep talking and saying, hey, here's my experience. There's one young man that you and I both talked to where he sent in some stuff and he sent in some silver coins with it. And, I mean, so performance wise, it all makes sense. And he did very well.
Mm-hmm.
So, there's a lot of that. Test it out. Test whatever you have out, man. Send them something and see what happens. See what the judge says and what kind of games get played, and you'll find out it's definitely a process, and they're going to play as many games as they can, and you just have to be ready for it. You got to work 5 times harder than any bar card's ever had to work, because it is true that they do have the system set up for them, and that's okay. I'm not going anywhere. That's what I always tell them. If I'm in a hearing, the first thing I say is, hey guys, just to let you know, I'm never going to go anywhere. I'm here till the end, man. So, that's just the way to start it out. But ordering your transcripts is something too, man, that I would recommend. I just ordered 2 from a couple of my cases. So when you're in a hearing, if you ever get the opportunity, man, make sure that you put on the record everything that's going wrong. Start saying things like abuse of discretion. Start saying things like contravene. Those are words that are going to play in their ears. When you're saying abuse of discretion, the judge is going to, it is like that. You're telling him he's doing something. He's going to be in on a 1983 case, So, they're hearing all those things, but you have to put it on the record. And when you put it on the record, order the transcripts. Like mine, I think the 2 that I just ordered was $178 or something like that.
Each or both?
Just for both. So it was a state case, two hearings that I want to order for. So, yeah, man, this is the best $180 you can spend, to have.
Well, this is why I say, if you're going to do this, that's kind of why I came in 100 million, 200 million, might as well go in hot, because I'm not going to work for 11 months for. But the beauty of our cases is we've given, I think, everyone an out where they don't have to spend even $1.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody has an exit door. Everybody.
Mm-hmm. That's what you want. Options, man. Yeah.
So the thing is that, look, I sign a durable power of attorney or a limited power of attorney, and I give you the ability to sign, to endorse qualified and special endorsements on my behalf. And you open up a HELOC or a black card or whatever it is. And every time I process any credit card payment, the unconditional promise to pay that is produced from that particular transaction will no longer be defaulted to a blank endorsement, but it's going to be defaulted to a qualified special endorsement, and they don't even need to send me a statement.
Yeah, love it.
Now that doesn't charge. They don't need to pay 1 penny to set that up for you. Not a penny. In fact, because there needs to be adequate consideration, they get to keep all the interest, and you guys can have a little conversation on how those promissory notes will be matured. Mm-hmm. You guys can set up a maturity date. It could be like a 3-month maturity date, and actually they're going to get paid handsomely. Not anything near as well as they will in the current scam that they have running, but they're still going to get paid really well. Like if everyone operated this way in the whole country, they would need to downsize probably, but they could still have their operation. We're not even talking about the end of credit cards. We're not even talking about the end of banking. We're just talking about the end of self-enslavement and enslavement. That's it.
Yep.
That's all we're talking about. So they're going to get paid and pay nothing to do what I've asked. It doesn't get any better than that.
Yeah, we're starting to get into that mortgage thing now, and I think I'm excited about that. I think more than anything too, because that's just downright fraud from day one. And the blank endorsement and the whole bit, and then they throw, and it's so easy to find that too. Any of your county recorders, it's there.
Because they don't know. No one knows that shit. No one knows this is the way it works, and they don't even know to hide it. They literally don't even know to hide the thing.
But they don't have to. They just write out.
They don't have to. Yeah, it's just an interesting,
promissory note and mortgage, and they're both recorded, and you can pull that anytime. I mean, I've done stuff like that where I've called the recorder's office. They're easy to talk to too, man, and say, hey, look, I want this instrument number right here, and they'll say, hey, it's going to cost you X. Give them the credit card number, and they'll have. There was a mortgage that I had to get on another case that I was on. It was simple, here's the instrument number, and they emailed me the stuff in a few minutes. So if you're looking for your promissory note that's on there, we all know it is, they're going to send it to you in the current state that it's recorded, and you're going to see that there's an endorsement on there that wasn't there the day that you were at the closing table. So, it turned into a check at some point.
Exactly.
So anyway, man, it's all exciting stuff. I hope more people get. I hate hearing about foreclosures whenever what we just talked about in the last minute and a half. You have the opportunity there to stop a foreclosure right in its tracks, man. If you and there's so many people that are suffering from that stuff, man.
When you understand negotiable instruments and you understand litigation, there is no such thing as a financial issue. It's
Right.
physically impossible to have any financial issues in either of these countries, United States or United States of America. It is physically impossible to have a financial issue.
Mm-hmm.
It can't
I
be
would
done.
go so far as say a criminal issue as well.
Yeah.
Depending on what it
Can't be done.
Yeah.
I can't have, even if I wanted, I don't even know, even I couldn't have a financial issue. It's not even possible. They could sanction me for $480 trillion. It's completely insignificant. I would still perform on that, just like I'd perform on anything else. And it would, sure, give it to me right now, $480 trillion. Give it to me right now.
Yeah.
Right
Put a
now,
little
right
extra on
here,
there for
right here in the
yourself.
room, right here, live on the recorder. I'll perform right here, live,
Yeah.
right now. You don't need to wait. You don't need to do anything. I'm going to perform on that right now.
Yeah.
$700 trillion, $400 quadrillion, right now. I will perform right now.
I'll pay off the debt.
I'll do it all. I'll do it all.
States.
Yeah. So it's a cool spot to be in. It's very powerful. I've had a few people who have emailed me over the past couple, 2-3 years that were either going to kill themselves or were thinking about it or said that my material stopped them from doing that. I've had about 4 or 5 of those.
That's great.
And it's all just an illusion. Literally every single
That
bit
makes
of it is an
everything
illusion.
worthwhile too,
Yeah.
man. All the other horse shit that we're doing doesn't matter. But if somebody is truly at that wit's end,
There's a lot of that, especially like you said, the single moms and stuff that are just like at their absolute limit, and they're just trying to have a home for their kids and stuff, and they just the rent is coming due and they just can't, and it's just like a nightmare. It's like a real life nightmare, and that's why I'm so glad this information is moving and being shared at such a fast rate of speed, and that's why I do litigation too, because I want this to get pounded home to a win, to get people to really realize, holy shit, all the people on the fence are going to realize real soon this is real. And it's going to be a huge shift in this country, I'll tell you right now.
There's a whole industry that's created with a subprime industry, and it's an industry that I used to be intimately involved with in the car sales piece. So I've seen enough credit reports, and this is not any kind of conspiracy stuff at all, but I know that there are multi-billion-dollar companies that I've worked with that it behooves them for Brandon to have a 560 credit score. So there's not a lot of people that are interested in getting you out of that. And in Indiana, the top interest rate is 25%. So most of those subprime lenders that I would use would charge 24.99% to be right under the state maximum. So I mean, it's like I would see as a young gal that needed the car. She's paying $350 when she should have been paying $200 a month because of that credit rating. It's sickening, man. It truly is. And you have the ability to fix it, and it's not hard.
What's even funnier is that I would rather have a 24.99. when you really understand it, then it gets even more funny, because then it's like, 24.99.
Beautiful.
Don't give me a 3%. Give me what's the state maximum? 25? Give me the 24.99. What are you doing? I don't want the 3%.
Right. So I've read this somewhere, and I cannot quote where I read it, but I know you've used this too. We've talked about it. Is there was $1 trillion last year that was awarded in default judgments.
Oh yeah, I've actually said that on shows.
Yeah, I heard you say it, and
I think you were told me.
Yeah. Well, I don't know where I read it from. So believe me, don't believe me, it doesn't matter. But
Oh no,
I
I
know the
guarantee you
magnitude,
that's got to be. There's
and that
no way
tells
that's not
you
true.
the market of people that just don't know how to answer a complaint. I was one of those people at one
Me
time
too.
too, by the way.
Me
So,
too. I think
I would
everyone.
ignore it.
It costs. What is the lawyer fees that they tried putting in those crazy bar card shufflers on case one? It was like
$69,000, man.
$65,000,
Yeah, yeah.
and that's for what, a few months, 3 or 4 months of like
Mm-hmm.
just a handful of filing in and one meet and confer phone call that went on for what, 30 or 40 minutes.
Yeah.
I don't even know, 65. I mean, obviously it's probably conflated or inflated
Oh, it
horribly,
was.
but
Yeah.
what, I mean, how does it even, no one can, I mean, if that's just a few, 3 or 4 or 5 months of a few things here and there and not much going on, I mean, that's, no one can afford that. I
Most
mean, that's,
people will get a summons and a complaint, and they just throw it off to the side. The clock's ticking, man. You got 21 days to answer this thing, or you're defaulted.
yeah.
So, in my instance, it was a commercial building that we had, and we were all busy, so we didn't do anything. And the next thing you know, there's probably about $1 million there between the three of us that was default judgment on. Most people just ignore it. So it's not the healthiest thing in the world to do. If there's anything and it doesn't matter if you handwrite it with a pencil or whatever, answer the freaking complaint and send it back. And you just went past 95% of the people out there that have lawsuits in any capacity. And then,
And most of these bar cards,
learn.
they live on just submitting some bullshit complaint, copy paste, and default judgment. And you say anything, you send them anything, and they're just like, fuck, they don't even want to deal with it.
It locks them up, man. Yeah. Especially like collection agencies. I love them. That's 1692 stuff, but the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act. And this is another one. I saw somebody on one of your posts, Brandon, that shared a letter, and I thought that was awesome because it looked great. Paco Drucker or something.
Paco or Gabrielle's been sending out a lot of stuff.
Paco put it on there. It was great letter. I should have sent a letter that I had that would have went right in hand with that. But one of the first things I do, especially if it's from a collection agency, I had one not long ago send me something that was stupid. Commercial Collections of New York. The first thing I do is I look in the state of Indiana, the Secretary of State. You could do this in any state that you're in, to see if one, that company has got a certificate of authority, or two, if they are licensed to work in your state as a collection agency. And 9 times out of 9, they aren't. So when you'll craft the letter and you go pursuant to the 1692, like I do, I ask them to validate the debt. They're not going to. And then I ask them, hey, just send me the license number and stuff that you have to operate in the state of Indiana. And it's like fucking flipping a light on, cockroaches go running. You never hear from them again, So there's just little things like that people could do to play the game. I know Midland is a huge one from a collection standpoint that gives people so many headaches and stuff. And I don't want to go through all of them, but there's just so many things that you could do to study to get rid of all of these guys that are coming at all of us all of the time about stupid stuff, man. I mean, it's crazy.
Well, the easiest thing is if you perform. I mean, again, that's why I love what I do, because you send me anything, I perform when I send it back. If I ever hear from you again, I'm suing you for breach of contract instantly. I mean, UCC 3-603 subsection B, it's the easiest fucking thing in the world.
Yeah, performance, man.
I can handwrite on the goddamn thing with a pen, stick it in an envelope, put one stamp on it, put it in the mail. If I ever hear from you again, we're going straight to litigation.
Yeah. People don't understand the litigation. And when you get the bug, this is the thing, one of the things that our generation, and I'm throwing you in there with me, even though I'm a little bit older than you, the generation before us was notoriously bad about saying, oh, he's fucking, he sues people all the time and blah, 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 blah. And there was just that negative connotation with litigation that was perpetrated for years and years and years and years, man. Like my mother-in-law's generation, that whole is like, they look down on litigating. And now it's all about litigating in my world. I don't want to sue anybody. I'm going to go on the record right now and say, I don't want to litigate. I hope I never litigate in the rest of my days, but I know I'm going to have plenty of opportunity because of these dumbasses. So I'll send people 3 opportunities before like you heard me in the Snap-on case. I sent them 3 opportunities. Please fix this. please fix it, please. Let's be friends. And they won't. It's just, I don't know if it's arrogance or what it is, but I always give somebody 3 opportunities to cure, man. And then if you don't, and you ignore me, then what most people will do is just let it go. I'm like, no, man, it's on now, man. We got to take it into the court and find out what happens. So I just wish more people would look at it through those eyes, and you would stop getting all this dumb shit sent to you in the mail. I get it all the time. And then I'm trustee for a couple of my wife's aunt that's 95, and a lot of that stuff. And there's a whole group of people out there that take advantage of the elderly, man. I pick stuff out of her mail all the time and just throw it, in the trash. But it's, you just wish you could get rid of all of that kind of stuff. My son, the youngest one, he gets a toll notice from a bridge in Chicago, and he's never been on the bridge, kind of thing, So it's one of those, the threats come, and then the toll fees go up, and now we're going to, now it's in 1983 because they're threatening you pursuant to an Indiana statute. So I make those things go away real fast, especially for somebody. Most people, though, it was like a $20 charge. Even though they hadn't been there, they'll pay it. And, because, I'm scared they're actually going to do something on my license or something like that. It's like, don't let the clownery go on, man. Stop the clownery.
And then you find out, then you go to the next level where you find out that having the driver's license is the worst fucking thing in the world.
Exactly.
It's literally a parasite in your life, and you need to get it. You have to like kind of cut it out. It's like a tumor, and you have to cut it out. Because I have a feeling when I sue the DMV, I have a feeling from a lot of the reports that I've gotten, they don't actually cancel the driver's license when you turn it in. They leave it, and it's still suspended after the date. We'll see, because I'm gonna force them in the DMV lawsuit to submit evidence that it's completely and utterly obliterated from this planet.
Yeah.
So we'll see, because
that's what that discovery process is for, man.
Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see how that plays out. I don't know if anyone's ever sued the DMV.
Oh.
No. Imagine. I mean, have you ever heard of anyone suing the DMV to verify that their driver's license has been destroyed?
No.
Isn't that the craziest, most
is.
hilarious shit?
Yeah.
I love it, bro. I'm so fucking excited. I love it. I wish I could see the faces of these people when they get these documents. This guy sues you for
them all the time, man. When I was in the car business. And it's like the biggest pain in the ass in the world. There is no bigger than the DMV. I mean, I can say that without waiver. I would always tell my people, I was like, look, I can't go in there because I'll go to prison if I do. It's just like, where is a place that they're public servants, they work for us, and it's like, what do you want? Okay, I'm just here to pay you, man. Just please let me pay you. So yeah, they ultimately gave me a window up in Fort Wayne to where I could go up and just turn all of my shit in at one time. So I would go in with like a packet of 25 car deals and, get them all through there. They have little secret places off to the side.
Yeah.
But yeah, they are a group that definitely needs some attention and some work. And yeah, I'll be excited about that one too.
Oh yeah, it's going to be a federal trademark violation case and all sorts of. It's going to be. I think they got like 18, 19 causes of action right now.
Mm-hmm.
But it's still in a rough draft form. But whatever, it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to have a lot of fun because it's going to give people a lot of ideas too.
Yeah. Well, if get in those uncharted waters and show people it's possible, and then what I love to do is share stuff too, man. That's if there's any way we can help, by all means, man. Love to help in any capacity that we can.
Hell yeah, man. All right. Well, anything else you want to drop on this? We're at like 4.5 hours.
Yeah. Well, that's one of our typical phone. I've usually went through 2 cigars by now, but I can't do that.
Stuck in front of the computer. Yeah.
So yeah, if I make it to next month, God love, it'll be 31 years of marriage, man. It's hard to believe it flies. So
beautiful.
Yeah. So anyway. Yeah, I think we got good stuff going. Appreciate you there, BJW, and everything you're doing. I know everybody else does too. You got a great group. Regardless, there's a few hiccups and a few clowns in there, and that's all right. Not a big deal.
A lot less than I'd think.
Yeah,
the amount of clownery is very low, very low, actually, shockingly low for the kind of individuals that would need to be interested in something like this. Everyone's got to be crazy wild. I mean, it'd be the greatest party in the world if we got everyone together in one big convention. I mean, it would be the greatest convention ever convened. I mean, it's like a psychopath convention 2025. You know what I mean? It'd just be wild, and it's just such different people and so many different people from all different walks of life. And we're starting to get a lot of international attention now. So, yeah, it's exciting.
Commercial codes are the same in the UK, and it's the same model all over the world, man.
Yeah.
The
I'm starting to see that
so.
more and more and more. So yeah, it's a pretty interesting situation for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you get one of those $100 million cases, man. I mean, we can rent out the convention center there in LA or something and, have a hoot.
There we go.
Pickles for all. Pickles for all.
I love it, man. All right, man. Well, thank you so much for coming on. This is a great, introduction for you. Nice long video. We haven't heard from you yet, so I appreciate you so much coming on. And we'll see you again when we start breaking down the new cases.
Sounds good, man. Looking forward to it.
All right. See you later.
Take care.